Hey guys, how's it going? It's Andy from Magoo Investing. Happy Tuesday. Definitely just a very normal Tuesday, nothing important going on today. But speaking of the election, I do want to say quickly before we get started that I don't have any change of plans for how I'm going to be trading going forward based off of the results of the election. I think people make too big of a deal off of, what's going to happen going forward. We have so much uncertainty right now. I think the only thing that really could kind of spook the market is if we have a contested result. So if that happens, I'm going to consider that a buying opportunity, but I'm not going to be spooked out by the fact that we have the election today. In today's video, I do want to talk about my stock portfolio. I've had a big change to it in the past. I made a video last month talking about how I was going to be potentially 75% in cash by the end of the month. Did not get all the way to there, but this is the most amount of cash I've ever had. So in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down my stock portfolio and kind of compare it to the overall market. From the past month, we did have a pretty red month in the stock market. We had a lot of volatility and overall the stocks fell. I'm pretty happy with my portfolio, but the NASDAQ fell 4% in October, Dow fell almost 5%, and my portfolio had a 0.5% gain. And so 0.5%, not super impressive. But the whole idea of investing in individual stocks is to try to outpace the market, because what's the point of doing all of this research, spending all this time trying to buy individual stocks if you're not beating the overall market? If you're not beating the overall market consistently, it would be so much easier, save you so much time just to invest in the overall stock market and bring in the on average 10% returns that the stock market has returned in the past century or so. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about three different parts. The first one is I'm going to talk about how my portfolio looks right now compared to the beginning of last month. I kind of talk about why things changed and how I'm feeling about it right now. Number two is I'm going to be talking about what I'm kind of eyeing going forward. As I mentioned, I have the most amount of cash sitting in my portfolio that I've ever had, so I have a lot of opportunities going forward. And then three, I'm going to be talking about how I've used options in the past month to have a profitable month, even though the market fell 4 to 5% depending on which index you look at. And so if you're not interested in one of these different sections, just a reminder that if you go down to the description, I do have timestamps. If you want to skip around to a part that you care about, you can break it down by the different three parts I'm talking about, and it just gives you more flexibility for what content you want to see. So before getting started, I do have to say that I'm not a licensed financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. Anything you see in this video is just me giving my own opinions on the stock market, and you need to do your own research before making any investment decisions. Also, if you've been enjoying these videos, really appreciate it if you hit that like and subscribe button, as it would help my channel out a lot. Also, leaving a comment gives me something to do during the day, because I love responding to comments. So let me know how you're feeling about the market in the comment section down below. All right, so let's start with part one of this video and talk about kind of what my portfolio looks like right now. So let's pull up how my portfolio looked on October 1st. And yeah, I spent a lot of time trying to color code this to where it made sense. Like Planet Fitness is purple, Southwest is orange, but I couldn't figure out how to change the names next to it. So forgive me for that part. But based off of October 1st, the thing that should jump out immediately is the fact that Sonos was 45% of my overall portfolio. For the longest time, I've talked about how I thought this was too large of a position, but it has not changed at this point. The reason it's so large is because I got pretty greedy going into an earnings report back in August, and I decided to sell 2 options, which means that I was on the hook to buy 200 shares. I ended up having to buy this 200 shares, and that's why it's such a large position. But the breakdowns, next largest position is going to be tied with Zynga and Southwest. And then the blue chips are a pretty small part of my portfolio, with Microsoft and Nike being 6 and 9% respectively. And then Planet Fitness is the newest addition to the portfolio, being around 9%, and I believe I bought that towards the end of August. So I was feeling pretty good about this. Cash was sitting at 5%, so relatively small. And now let's put up how the portfolio looks as of right now. The biggest thing that should jump out, besides Sonos being 40%, and no, it does not mean that I sold my position. Sonos is down around 9% in the past month, so it is not as big of a position as it was in the past. So the biggest thing that should jump out is that Zynga is gone, and in its place is now 22% cash. So when I made that video talking about how I could be 75% in cash, it had to do with options that were likely going to be taken away from me. And so Zynga ended up getting taken away from me, and I had to sell. So it's no longer part of my position. And so that's where 22% of that cash comes from. In addition, I used some of that money to buy some Apple shares, and I made a full video talking about that on Friday, and I'll link that above right now if you missed that, or you want a more in-depth explanation for why I decided to buy after it missed on their earnings report. Okay, so that's what my portfolio looks like right now. In the past month, I've gotten out of Zynga and gone more heavily in cash, which I think makes me feel a lot better going in towards the end of the year. So what am I feeling right now and what's the plan going forward? So in the past couple of videos, I've talked about how I want to be a little bit more conservative with my portfolio. Does this mean that if the stock market starts to fall, I'm going to panic and sell everything? No. It just means that I have less exposure to risk because I'm no longer in Zynga anymore, which is a tech stock, which has a lot of risk associated with it, and I'm more heavily in cash. So far in the past couple of videos, I've talked about how I'm going to be very patient going forward. And in the next video, which will probably be tomorrow, I'm going to be laying out the groundwork and kind of why I'm looking at 4 specific stocks to buy in November if the opportunity is right. So look out for that video tomorrow. But personally, I'm expecting the overall market to fall this month. I think there's a lot of volatility because of the election, especially if things become contested, which it's looking like it's probably going to. I think the market's going to fall this month. And so since I have so much cash sitting on the side, I'm going to be looking to take advantage wherever I can. Not going to be buying into new stocks. I'm going to be looking to add to positions that I already have. So stuff like Apple, Microsoft, Nike. If they fall in the upcoming month, I'm going to take advantage of that because you never know when the next time they're going to fall is. They've had such incredible 2020s and being able to buy when the market falls overall, I think is a great opportunity for myself. And then I think we're going to have a nice bounce, low rally towards the end of December. Then going into 2021, I'm kind of going to sit back for a couple days and I'm going to figure out what I want to do with my portfolio. Because so far 2020 has been a fantastic year for me. Was up almost 50%. The market's fallen recently, and now I'm up around 44%. So I'm going to try to get to that 50% mark by the end of the year, but we'll see how things go. So right now, I think patience is the most important thing for myself going forward. I do have enough cash sitting on the side where if things do fall, I'll have enough opportunities to buy into new stocks or to buy into the already existing ones that I have and increase my position size. So I do have cash on the side to take advantage, but I do have 75% of my portfolio sitting in the overall market. So even if we do see a little bit of a rally, I'll be able to make enough money where I'm not really worried about missing out. Part 3 of this video, let's talk about how I've used options recently to have a reliable gains even though the market's fallen 4 to 5% in the past month. So first, I want to talk about how I pick stocks to trade options on because it is very specific. This is not something that I could do with every stock. The number one factor that I have to look at has to do with price. Price is not a big factor of importance anymore in the overall stock market. You can buy fractional shares, you can buy single shares, so that's not really a problem. But when it comes to options and the way I use it for the wheel strategy, you need to be able to buy 100 shares of a specific company. So while I would love to trade options on something like Microsoft, I don't have enough cash sitting on the side to be able to buy 20 grand worth of Microsoft shares if I get assigned. So the cheaper the stock, the better for this type of option strategy. Number 2 is it has to be a stock that has higher volatility. One of my first options trades that I had to do with AT&T, and I'll throw that chart up right now. Yeah, AT&T hasn't moved that much in the past year. I think my option was for like $28 and now it's below that, but not by that much, even though it's had a tough year. And so volatility means that the expected move is going to be relatively high. And when an expected move is relatively high, the option prices are much higher. And for someone like myself that enjoys pocketing that premium and taking on the risk of potentially buying into these stocks, that's very attractive to me. So volatility has to be there and the price has to be low enough where I can afford to buy 100 shares. Number 3, it has to be a stock that I absolutely love and I understand how their business runs. And so the whole idea behind this is when you're selling options, you're on the hook to be buying 100 shares of this stock. And so there's a decent chance that you buy it and it crashes. And then it's still going to be part of your portfolio. And if this is a stock that you don't fully understand or you don't love, you might be more willing to sell it at a loss just to kind of get rid of some of the anxiety that's kind of weighing over your stock portfolio. So something like Zynga, there's a company that I love. I think it's a fantastic company. And I was happy to hold it forever. It wasn't in the cards, it got taken away from me, but I made a pretty nice profit. And so those are the 3 things that I look at for trading options. And so let's go back to my Sonos position. When I started this position, the stock was at $17, which was very high. It came off of an extreme move to the upside right before earnings. And right before earnings, you get extreme volatility. So I was able to pocket more than $2 a premium, making my average price being around $15. And so even though the stock pretty much crashed after that earnings report, I was still profitable. And since it's been kind of bouncing around between $13 and $16, I've been able to lower my average price down to $12. And even though the stock is down 15% since I opened this trade, I'm up 23%. And it's going to be possible that I continue to lower my price. And so this is the beauty of options, is that if it does not get taken away from you and your contract expires worthless, you're pocketing that premium and essentially just lowering your average price on the stock. So while the stock has gone down, I've made a lot of money, and it's given me a overall profitable month. And so that's how I use options to kind of bolster my portfolio. Even though the market was down, I was green. So let me know what you thought about my stock portfolio, and let me know how you're feeling going in towards the end of the year in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching. I appreciate all the support, and I will see you tomorrow.